All right, it is 4:31 on October 17th, 2023, and we will begin the Curriculum Committee of the West Bend School District and School Board. We will start with introductions. I am Melanie Ergott, School Board Member.
Kelly Lang, School Board Member.
June Kruger, School Board Member.
Quinn Trueblood, Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
Kelly Downs, Curriculum Coordinator.
Heather Isaacson, Program Administrator.
Erin Faust, Program Administrator.
Tina Van Roo, District Data and Assessment Coordinator.
All right, so the first item on our agenda is the Math Department course revision, and that was prepared by Mary Damcott, Haley Ransom, Holly Wells, and Melissa Worth. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, I'm Haley Ransom. This is Melissa Worth. We are the current honors pre-calculus teachers at the high school. So we're the ones that are currently teaching the course. The other people on the list have taught it before and have worked with us kind of to put this all together. Mary Damcott is the AP calculus teacher, so she's the one that kind of teaches the next course in line. So she was kind of working with us on it as well. I have been teaching in the building. This is my 12th year. It is my 9th year with Honors Pre-Calc.
This is my 11th year, and I taught Honors Pre-Calc for like 3 or 4 years, and then I taught a whole bunch of other things, and now I'm back to my 2nd year back at Honors Pre-Calc.
So
Oopsies,
we've
moving.
both been with the course for a long time, I guess I would say. Yep.
So about 2 years ago, we started looking into new resources because our resource for Honors Pre-Calc is pretty dated. At that time, we were in the midst of reviewing different resources, and we heard a rumor that the College Board may be releasing a new course called AP Pre-Calculus. So at that point, we kind of put our research for new resources on hold to be responsive to and responsible with district funds and things like that, and said, okay, let's take a look at what's coming and see if it's appropriate for us. Last year, we heard for sure that AP Pre-Calculus was going to be officially offered by College Board for this school year. Now, with the way the curriculum cycle works, we weren't ready when there was no information in October to say, yep, we're going to jump on this train. We said, let's make sure that this is something that's good for our students, and we feel is a course that we would appropriately like to offer here. So this is a new AP course offered by College Board where students can earn college credit for passing the AP test. We kind of kept our ears listening and did some research and found out there was, I think, January of last year, 10 schools were on the early acceptance of this credit, and UW-Madison was on the list. We're like, okay, this is something we definitely should be looking into, because if Madison is going to accept it, chances are many of the other UW system schools will accept it, and Madison is a good gauge of that. So this is something we probably should be looking into for our students. Some of the benefits of the AP versus honor, it's a universal notation that's noted and recognized across the country. So AP means something universal, whereas honors means something to us, but not necessarily to other school districts or colleges. Or yes, it means that it's an advanced level course, but what does that mean? Well, in West Bend, it can mean something different than it means in any other district. Whereas AP, it is a standardized course, it is a standardized recognition. So having this course take that designation offers our students the benefit of that AP recognition.
Yeah. The curriculum itself, going from what we're currently doing with Honors Pre-Calc, moving into labeling it AP Pre-Calculus, is just a slight adjustment. What we have been teaching with Pre-Calculus, it's basically the same topics. We did the AP Pre-Calc, gave us the whole rundown of the different standards within each unit and everything, and we cross-compared them all. It's basically a depth change in a couple places. So like you're still analyzing graphs, but maybe they really focus on concavity instead of like a different kind of interval, details of it. But the standards and the essential questions that we're doing are the same as what I've taught for the last 9 years. It's just a little differences here and there. So we're already implementing some of the changes this year because any student is technically allowed to take any AP test they want, even without being labeled as an AP course. So some of our students this year are like already wanting to do that. The thing that would help us a lot, having them better prepared, is if we were an AP course as labeled, we would get access to the AP community, the resources that go along with that, including AP Classroom, which provides resources for the teachers so that our lessons, our practices, our assessments are all kind of aligned with the AP style questioning and the same kind of leveling that AP test would look like. It also gives students the practice that they would need. When you have an AP Classroom set up for your kids, they can go in and access different things. So sample questions, FRQ question and multiple choice, which is what the test at the end of the year would look like. So if we change our labeling from like honors pre-calc to AP, content and stuff that we're doing in the course, the general idea of it doesn't change at all. It just kind of gives our kids that universal AP titling, and that goes a long way when you're talking about colleges, especially when you leave our state. Like AP is a universal, whereas honors pre-calc and what we do, the farther you go from West Bend could mean different things. So, yeah.
So our course enrollment has been very varied. As you can see, it goes from, as high as about 9% of the population to as low as about 5.5% of the population. The thing with this is we've had a lot of variance in this course enrollment. It's not a required course. Students need 3 credits of math to graduate, so this is beyond their graduation requirements. Some students are like, I'm gonna take the math, but I don't wanna take the honors math because it's honors. However, the AP designation looks different. So some students we've heard that probably could have, and we would have encouraged, should have taken pre-calculus, might take that step because, okay, this is now college credit. I can test out of a course if I pass this test. Whereas right now it's not something that they have that designation for. So we have, just from student, anecdotal feedback from students in the hallways and in the classrooms that, yeah, if it had been AP, I probably would have given it a try versus it's honors and I don't need another honors credit. I have all my honors credits. I'm gonna take my AP this and AP that, and that's how I'm getting my credits, whereas we might get some of those students. So we've had there was a reevaluation. The other thing that happened, there was a reevaluation of the acceleration criteria and how students became accelerated. And there was a little bit of a flux period with that where there was a time where some of these students might have been accelerated that didn't, and we're at that dip right now and we're coming back up. So this year we don't have an AP Calculus BC course. However, next year we will. We know that there are enough students that will be back in. So it's just kind of a natural ebb and flow, especially with COVID and things that impacted that way. We feel like we're on the upswing just by what courses students are in and what level the students are at based on their grades, that we are having a higher influx of accelerated students again. This is something that students have asked for.
And I would say, I would never foresee AP titling change lower this from just the normal ebb and flow, because a lot of kids say, well, if I'm gonna take honors pre-calc, then I wanna take the AP Calc, because the kids that are looking to get their college credit, they wanna see how to get to that AP. Well, in order to get to AP Calculus, you have to take pre-calc first. So students who are a senior in pre-calc sometimes don't take it because they know they won't get to the AP. Well, now that pre-calc is AP, you're gonna get those seniors to take the class. So I think that population is what really might increase our numbers. Whereas the juniors and the sophomores that are already accelerated, they're still gonna take it because they're still gonna go to calculus. Their route stays the same. I foresee seniors who want a math credit, they're the ones that are gonna sign up now. It's gonna be maybe not a huge swing, but I don't think it would ever go down.
I also think that a lot of students are hoping that this would then be I'm testing out of math and I might not have to take math in college because I can take it in this setting, which is a little less stressful because we can spread it out and we do have just different resources than they have in college.
Some of the budget items that was in the document that was shared out, we put the graphic over here. Like she started off saying, we were up for a new resource for pre-calc for a while now. Our book is copyrighted 2007, which is the year I graduated high school. Yep. So it's outdated. We have been supplementing a lot, and that just leaves you reaching. So we've been looking for a resource. The cost of the resource was gonna be there anyway because we are so due for it. So AP pre-calc, we put that as one of the initial costs because we do need a new resource in pre-calculus, kind of either way.
So one of the things we don't have, there are no digital resources. Students don't want to carry around a textbook anymore. They want their Chromebook to be their textbook for everything, and there are no digital resources for our book whatsoever. They walked in my room, they're like, so where's my online code? I was like, you need to go get a book. They're like, a what? I was like, library, check it out, book. They're like,
Yeah.
You're serious? I'm like, yes, you need a book. So they want that. That's something they want. Actually, quite a few of our students will just take a photo of their homework out of the book so that they have a digital access to their book, even though they don't have digital access. So they're kind of working around it, but it's not a great workaround.
Yeah, there's literally no online access to it.
And you will see the professional learning on there. Both Holly Walls and I attended the AP training this summer to get more information before we came to present to this committee because we wanted to have done our due diligence. We had an inkling of how we were reading the College Board CED, which is the layout of the course, but we wanted to get a trained professional's information on that. And that's where we're coming up with what we're doing is basically the same. It's emphasis on small things that we can tweak and change and essentially continue to teach honors pre-calc under the umbrella of AP.
And I talked to Susan Sarek last year and said that, like, put me on the list for AP training next summer so that, like, I'll be doing it this year. We thought it was a good idea that some people did it first, and I held off because this is the first year the test is running. So last summer, I think the trainings were not refined. And this summer, hopefully, after a year under their belt, there's like a little bit refinement so that when one of us went to explore and then I can go this next summer when maybe it's ran a year round, we did disperse that cost over the 2 years. If not much changes in our department, which every year schedule's different. If not too much changes, it would just be me this summer. It might be 2 people maximum, but that training cost would just be like 1 to 2 people, I would foresee. So not extensive. And whatever little traveling would go along with that would be the cost that you're seeing there.
So we attended we did a virtual through Zoom course, so there was no travel associated with the cost and stuff.
Yeah, these are the bullet points, basically what we talked about. The 2 main things that you see is the resource cost. Like we said, it's an old resource. It's gonna need to be replaced, whether you guys change the title or not. And then the teacher training, in order to be AP certified and like know how to use the AP classroom that they offer for us, having that training done would be beneficial.
So that's kind of what we've done. We're open to any questions you may have for us.
I don't have any questions, but this is really awesome, and I'm always in favor of more AP and getting kids, especially looking at the numbers, and I love that you brought that forward, saying that this will cover more kids probably enrolling because it's not that calculus, but they still get that AP and the potential of those credits. So I think this is awesome, and I really appreciate this presentation, too.
I just had one question. You were saying currently there's no digital resources, but this new curriculum would have digital resources, correct?
That would be one of the things that would be on our list of when we are looking for a resource. Is it on the list of what AP will accept if we do go the AP route, but also what digital is there? And it's a must that the students can access online at all times. the
Yeah, so
textbook, like, that's
AP
number one.
Classroom is a digital resource. It won't have everything. We will still need to supplement with another resource. So over the next school year, we will do our research on what to go with it. So AP Classroom is like a lot of good practice and sample questions and stuff, but it's not like
It's not a
everything
textbook.
you would need. It's
Yeah.
not the full resources for the course. So it's a good start, and it is online, but we would be doing research over the next year to see what else would go with it.
The other thing we've talked about is a lot of book companies have taken, this is gonna be AP now, we slap the name AP on our book and it's AP, and we noticed that even last year, so we really wanna make sure that we are vetting these books and making sure it has what we are looking for, and not necessarily jumping on the first thing that comes in the door, but making sure that we have the right resource for us and our students.
Just to dovetail on what you just said, so the curriculum committee would be seeing a proposal for the adoption or a recommendation to consider the adoption of this resource that they'll be looking at this coming year. I would like to add that I'm just very excited that our students will have the opportunity, as many, many do in the nation, to have these kinds of advantages. It will really make a difference in the math life of a student for those who really love it and those who are wondering about it. So I'm really happy to see this come forward, and I do appreciate your prudent approach to holding off with the excitement of this new course and not making that junior mistake of considering an adoption earlier, knowing that this was coming down the line, and it's actually here. So it's very exciting.
All right, is there any other questions or comments? No. All right, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you. We will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is Art Department course updates and new course proposals.
Been told this mouse is tricky. Okay. You have a tab. And instructions to only use 2 buttons here. Okay. Well, thank you for this opportunity, everyone. I am Deb Prahl, and we're going to take a moment to introduce ourselves shortly, but I just have to say I'm really excited that we're here and you're giving us this opportunity to share with you the ideas and the vision that we have with all these new possibilities for our students here at the high school. So again, I'm Deb Prahl, and I've been in art education for 26 years now, mostly here at the West Bend School District. There were 3 years when I was at the Museum of Wisconsin Art as their curator of education, and then I was lured back to the district and happy to do so. This year, I am teaching jewelry and art metals, advanced jewelry and art metals, what else am I teaching? Advanced painting, advanced drawing, and the AP art and design courses. So I'll move on to the other 2. Sure.
My name is Johanna Shred. This is my first year in the school district. I have about 5 years of teaching experience, along with a couple decades worth in other art fields such as interior architectural design and animating for Disney Junior. This year I am teaching Intro to Art and Drawing and Painting.
I'm Kaya Wolf, known as Kaya. I've been in the district 24 years. I actually had to do the math, it was kind of weird. I've actually taught at every level, usually home-based at the elementary, and then I would jump up to the high school or jump up to the middle school and help out. I'm teaching 8 ceramic and sculpture classes and 2 advanced ceramic and sculpture classes this year. So.
This is exciting because this is the first time that we have 3 full-time art teachers up at the high school. So it's a bit significant. I should also mention Kai and I are West Bend natives and have been through the system ourselves, so we know. We're going to take just a minute or 2 to brag about our students and share a few photos with you. So I'm going to start with Kaya here.
These are some images from our K-12 art show done at the Hub. We've done it now for 2 years, and the local business has been a wonderful ally with us. The prizes or the ribbons that you see are given out by local businesses and all 9 administrators from the 9 different high schools, or all the administrators. So the students actually feel like this is something that they're working toward every year when they come.
And here, another community collaboration is with the community library, the West Bend Library. And with their teen director, we've collaborated on an art show the last 2 Februaries. And then we also have been a part of the Museum of Wisconsin Art Teen Show, which is significant because local high schools, I shouldn't say just local, it's in the greater Milwaukee area, are asked to participate, and they can only send one representative piece of art from their high school. And fortunately, with East and West, we can have 2 pieces in there. Also, we've got 3 photos up there from our AP Art and Design show, which is our finale at the end of the school year. And those AP students, they organize and plan that show. I have a feeling that's most of the reason why some of them even take the class to be a part of that show at the end of the school year. And it's a fabulous thing to come see. And I invite you all at the end of this current school year to come see that AP Art show when it's on.
The bottom 2 pictures are from the soup night for autism. Last year was my first year participating, and it was amazing. My ceramic students and I created 240 bowls, along with 150 spoons to be given away if you bought a bowl to help that cause, which is amazing that I get to be a part of. So.
And for the last 11 years, the advanced painting and AP Art and Design students have been a part of the Downtown West Bend Association Art Walk Banner Project. So that's been a great collaboration, an opportunity for our students to get their work out into the community. We've also been a part of the Festival of Arts that the UW-Washington County Foundation puts on each year, and with the ribbons, you can see we usually do pretty well there. We have also been a part of a curricular collaboration with the Holocaust Art Show. We did that for about 5 years. So looking at this chart that we have, this is our current high school offerings. And just to make sure we all understand, like the courses are 1 semester except for the AP courses. Those are a year. The model's been used for about 10 years. And over the past 5, Kaya and I especially have noticed gaps in the curriculum, the way the class is scaffolded, and the types of paths or tracks that the students can take. So the modifications or the recommendations that we're making are to add 4 semesters of a new art survey course that's on a 2-year rotating cycle, renaming Intro to Art as Art 1, renaming Drawing and Painting as Art 2, and restructuring the ceramics and sculpture path so that we add intermediate level hand building and wheel throwing courses, modify the advanced level course into 2 courses, advanced hand building and advanced wheel throwing. And the last time this has been modified was in 2013.
These are our proposed art course offerings. There are 17.
Yeah, there are actually
Yes.
17.
Actually 17 in total. Our green highlighted classes, those are the new course offerings. The 4 sections of art survey, nature, identity, community, and culture. And also the hand building, advanced hand building, wheel throwing, and advanced wheel throwing. So adding art survey options provides students more options to continue on an exploratory track, allowing them to continually take the identity, community, culture level courses without advancing into the capstone and AP levels if they don't want to do that. And also adding the intermediate ceramics courses, creating a better level for advancing techniques and more offerings to meet the demand for more ceramics classes.
So if we focus on that track, specifically to those more 2D students who would like to take art, when we developed this track back in 2013, we were working with the middle school, and so this track helped support what they were doing at the time. They've since modified their courses as well. So this really kind of creates a true survey course. that has more different mediums and skills and art history at an introductory level. And it would meet the needs of students that are new to the public schools, new to the district, or maybe even haven't had an art class since 6th grade.
Whoops. Yep, sorry. So these recommendations meet the needs for two different pathways. Vertically, you can stay within the cycle of the art survey courses. You can take nature for a semester and then identity the next semester. The following year, you can take community and then culture. Or you can go horizontally and break out of the art surveys into Art 1, which is our current Intro to Art. And then you can move forward into Art 2 and the advanced level drawing and painting classes, ending up in AP. Oops, yep. So adding the art survey course reintroduces art to students who've not been in art class for a while, and it creates a track for students to continue to explore the art within the survey curriculum, as I mentioned before, staying within those green courses.
Here's the current ceramic and sculpture pathway. If you can see, we only have the 2 levels before they jump to that AP art and design. Within this kind of pathway, there is no middle way. So hypothetically, if a student took the ceramics and sculpture like their freshman year, and then they can't get into the advanced until their junior, senior year, there's kind of a big time lapse on skill, and then also using the medium of clay, you kind of have to keep up those skills to be good at it. So having that middle intermediate level too would be very helpful, all along with the 2 different pathways. So adding hand building and wheel throw as our intermediate levels. And the reason why the 2 are split, because I've seen that kids usually, students either like to go one way or the other, and they kind of panic when they have to cross over. So after teaching it for a year and a little bit, it's like I've obviously seen the need for the students wanting to do one way or another. So they definitely have that more focused path that they want to continue, and only having the 2 areas kind of limits them, and then I end up having them in my room during study hall and all the other times during the day. But students can also go straight across their pathway into AP, or they can come back around and then take the hand building and advanced hand building too, or follow the cycle in a different direction.
So we did a survey a few weeks ago. We surveyed our current courses to get a snapshot of what art classes they've taken or are enrolled this year. So you can see the introductory courses are popular, and this helps better inform us and helped us see where the gaps are. And this is a second one here, which was showing what students plan on taking. And again, the intro classes are really popular, and even the jewelry and art metals and the ceramics that are quite high, we really only have the 3 introductory courses, and it becomes difficult for students to continue on that path. That's only 3 semesters of introductory level courses.
So these are, the following few slides are our cost tables for these new courses. On this first table here, we have art survey identity and art survey nature, which would be covering first and second semester of one school year.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm good. Thank you. So in the initial cost in art survey identity, we have a higher cost for supplies because those supplies would be shared across both courses over the year. And then the ongoing cost and the initial cost in the art survey nature, those are more curriculum-specific materials. Our capital objects are in art survey identity, and those would be replenished on a 2-year basis as needed for our courses. On our second table here, it's more of the same art survey community, and culture would also be in one school year, 2 separate semesters. So our larger supply costs would be covered under community, and those supplies would be shared between the 2 courses. And then they each have their own individual supplies for their curriculums.
The next couple slides will be covering the new ceramic paths. So we have hand building, and usually it's just more of the consumable. I have most of the materials that we already consistently need. So it would just be the stuff that would be used every year and then used up and have to be reordered. The capital objects are added into my advanced courses, and those are things that would be bought on a yearly or every other year basis just to upkeep the tools and stuff that we use. And here's wheel throwing and advanced, or the capital is in the advanced one.
Wrapping up. Go through that one. So going back to our student survey, there were some key takeaways that we got from responses. Their question was, tell us how you've enjoyed or benefited from taking an art class, whether it's learning new skills and techniques, improving skills and techniques, learning to appreciate art, making new friends. And overwhelmingly, we heard that art classes are often taken as a stress-relieving break in the day for students, the need for more classes to accommodate students in the specific tracks they would like to be on, and that students value art classes and the skills that they learn. We also noticed that there were several comments about ceramics classes. The demand is pretty great there. And in this one, there were some quotes that really hit us, were significant. Like, the classes have provided me with a much-needed mental health break and are just very calming in general. I've met so many cool people, helped me make new friends. It helps me present who I am through my art without having to verbally express it. And then we have one here that she has a small business, and I don't think I would have developed the skills I have now if I hadn't taken art classes. So that was really nice for us to have those to reflect upon. That's the end of our presentation. So if you have any questions.
I don't really have a question, but I think that this sounds like a great opportunity for students. I always liked art class when I was in middle and high school as well, and so I would be in favor of supporting this. I think it seems like a great opportunity for students.
Can I just, might be a bad question, but can you explain what the survey means in those class titles?
So I probably should have went in depth with that a little bit more. An art survey class would be more, it samples different mediums, art history, art concepts. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to where we were. Okay. Whereas the intro class, the way it's developed right now, it was a continuation of what had been at the 8th grade level, and is very skill-based and works towards advancing towards other classes, as opposed to a class to sample and enjoy and appreciate art. Does that help explain?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've taught the survey or the art intro class probably for 6 years, and being at the middle school level and now at the high school level, I've definitely seen the gap that is there, and having the survey class too would meet those needs and keep like the students who really enjoy it, because they want to go on, but they know like, oh man, I barely made it through this one, how can I do the next one? But they want to stay in the art program. So this way it lines them to go vertically and stay and build those skills before they're ready to move on. But that also can be skipped if they provide us with a portfolio at the middle school level. So then those students could start at Art 1, so we're not ruining what they have already started by now making them do a survey class. So we definitely took that in consideration on where their skill level is, because that level of survey can be skipped if they can provide us with a portfolio. So we are all prepared for that too.
Thank you.
I have one question about staffing all these classes. I know that can be difficult. Would it be I guess, is there staffing in place to accommodate the additional classes? And would those classes be full when they're offered? Because I know it sounds like there's a demand, but there's also a lot of classes. So how would you address that?
At this point, what we're predicting is that we have had, we said 6, 7 sections of intro to art the last few years. And probably the survey class will take up maybe 2 sections per semester. And so we'll see less of the intro. It'll be divided, I guess is what I'm saying. The intro class as it is now will be divided between survey and Art 1, as it will be renamed. And then that probably would not require new staffing at this point. The ceramics courses,
I had 6 last year and 1 AP or advanced last year. Now I'm up to 8 and 2 advanced. And then with the student survey, because I've been bouncing this off to students for the last year, just what do you want while we were kind of developing it. And more kids would be wanting to stay in that ceramic pathway. It's just now they would have to find a different way. So I'm assuming I'm staffing it all unless we get a blowout here and we're just gonna have to knock some walls out, by the way. I wanted to get that in there, to make the room bigger.
we feel that over the next couple of years, there probably would be some adjustment. Having intermediate classes, she may be heavier with intermediate classes for a year or 2 until students move into the advanced. So we may not run as many advanced classes for a year or 2 and then see what happens once we get a cycle up and running.
Yeah, 'cause
But
students.
if we need another art teacher, we're open to that idea.
We are definitely celebrating having 3, and especially a new faculty member this year. So this is, when I was introduced to this team, this was the greatest celebration to have a 3rd art teacher. Also, in the back end of asking, can we really sustain a growth program? Because you don't really ever want to add classes to have them drop off. So there was some analytics on the backside on my end to say, did we meet the threshold for growth? And they statistically meet them. So we have a prediction model that we can sustain what we have over a good amount of time, because it would be a little sorry to just kind of do this for a few years and then have it taper off. But I do think the balance of multiple entry points and continuous opportunities for students wherever they are in their academic plan allows them to maintain the ropes of art for exploration, for personal identity and expression, which is the biggest goal, I think, which is the joy of adolescence. And lastly, those who are very serious now have more advanced tracks. So I really believe that this proposal does encompass the majority of students and beyond the 207 that were surveyed. So I do believe that that survey with the number of participants is significant, and it did really inform kind of the future of this program in a very significant way. So I really appreciate that you did that.
All right, thank you. It doesn't look like any further questions. No. All right. Well, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
All right. So the next item on our agenda for review and discussion is the Q2 book club lists. And it looks like we'll be discussing the 5th grade book list today.
As you can see, this particular 5th grade list has, and it wasn't, I would have to say it would not be a direct connection, but prior comments on this committee was to provide more options for students where there was NAs across the board in all 3 criteria. I think it was not intentional, but we understood that at the 5th grade level that we might be able to see more of that, of course, and you can see that here. It would get progressively more difficult to achieve as we advance chronologically in age and developmentally. But as you can see in the entry level for 5th grade, we do have a variety of book titles here that are options for students with not applicable in all 3 areas, so I'm happy to display that.
All right, I just have a question. I probably have a bunch of comments too. But it was my understanding that at the 5th and 6th grade level, there should be all NAs in the obscene language category. I found 3 books that did have some questionable language that maybe aren't the worst, that you would see, but I was under the impression that there would be none at the 5th grade level. So I guess I have questions on those few books, if that's in line with the policy or not.
My only comment to that is it's displayed here, especially for, say, Rain here, that there was language here, and what we did here as a committee and with our teachers is tell you what those words are, because we don't quite know if those are obscene words or not, but we know that those are factually the words. So that is sort of the test that we're always kind of balancing. And I don't have the answer, but what I've done here with the teams is report to you what these words are. So, for instance, if this committee would say, what your comments are, it would be struck or it would not be struck. But through our vetting process, we had a question about that.
I did ask a couple folks on these swear words, and they, the feedback that I received was that they don't even recognize these words or as swears. And so I took that as good insight into if they saw this list, they would appreciate us bringing it forward, but wouldn't necessarily restrict their student from reading these books. And in fact, when I was reading through this list of books, I kind of want to read some of these, so I was excited to see the variety, and so I'm going to end there.
Yeah, I would agree. I also think, this is a large list. There's a lot of options. And when I'm reading the descriptions and learning focus of the ones that do, of the 3 that do have some language in them, I feel like those are really things that we want to discuss with our kids and be a part of. Again, I think just having the ability to sign off on these and have your child not, I'm completely comfortable with all of these on the list.
All right. I understand that this is a permission slip, so the families will get to choose, what's appropriate for their kids. But I personally felt that a lot of these topics were pretty heavy for 5th grade. I have a 4th grader at home, so she's not far off from that. And many of these books, I was reading the summaries to her, and most of them were not even anything she would be interested in. But also, I just think the topics were a little heavy. You've got all of them, or there's a ton with bullying, homelessness, disability, divorce, racism, police encounters, violence were in some. There's one where a drunk dad shoots at his wife and son. An illegal dog fighting ring was in one. So I think that in 5th grade, personally, I feel like kids should be reading more lighthearted topics. Even some of the older classics, like we don't see any of the old classics anymore, like Swiss Family Robinson, Old Yeller, Number the Stars, Johnny Tremaine, like there's a lot of old good books that wouldn't necessarily have all of that topics.
I can see your point, Melanie, on that, and I think there's a lot of value in learning about or being exposed to families that are different than your own, concepts that are different than what you've, what the student has personally experienced, and thinking about that person's life and discussing it. And so I think there is value in that, and that's allows the student to meet these educational needs as well as consider lifestyles other than their own as part of the education they're getting.
Thank you. I'd like to add that some of these, what is written and what is reported, or at least recorded in the parent slip here, oftentimes, and I haven't read all of them and I won't ever, but I can tell you that they are singular incidents in a plot. That it is a denouement, or it is a moment that is a pivot in the story that makes the story turn a certain way for a very specific purpose for the writer. So I will say that many of these books, if there was a moment that is difficult, it is singular. And it changes the path of the characters and what they experience. So I can guarantee you that there is not a propensity of what I consider to be hardship in many of the plots. So I'm rest assured there.
One more comment. I know like bullying and a lot of the concepts that are summarized in these books are things that students can face in their own life during middle school or high school or after. And it may prove useful to consider how these book characters are reacting to those situations, to think about how they might themselves react or handle a situation that if they are in that situation.
I also had one community member bring to my attention, obviously not everybody can read all of these books this quickly and go through them, so there's things that could be missed, but for Save Me a Seat, there was a part in that book that was, somebody had spoken about on an Amazon review, I believe, where when the kids wanted to get back at the bully, they found a way to put leeches on his genitals, so perhaps we could look into that book and see if that's in there. I don't think that would be appropriate for fifth graders, but it's called Save Me a Seat.
And we are facing the very same, I guess, we're sitting in the same seat because some of the Amazon reviews are just as inaccurate as some of anything else could be. So we do have to rely on so many non-peer reviewed, if you will, sources. And the only source we really can rely on is the people who do close reading on these books. So I appreciate what you're saying, but I do understand the public stance that if it is somewhere in cyberspace, there might be some truth to it, or it might be an exaggeration. But I understand your point.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any other comments?
All right, thank you for this. I would like to let the committee know that there is another book list coming for the 7th grade. It's unfortunate, given the timeline, that we weren't able to provide that for you tonight. I also want to let you, so we will be calling a special meeting at your availability, simply because we cannot wait till the next scheduled meeting to make that quarter-2 time run. So thank you for being flexible there and looking out for that. The other thing is, it has become more and more apparent that, as you can see, these book lists are quite long. Some of that definitely has to do with the numbers of books we have, and we want to make as many as available to students as possible on their choice. That's really what we want. And because of this, it is bearing quite a load on our teachers, who are also looking at these books again for a second or third time with the critical eye for the 3 criteria. So that is I appreciate very much the workload that we have asked them to bear. I do believe it will get more difficult than easy. The third quarter, our projections for the third quarter list will be quite many classes. And on top of that, I just want to kind of preview that there are genre books coming, and one of those is the dystopian genre. And we have to, as a professional community, educational community, help you and help the public understand the value of that genre, and that there will be naturally catastrophes and dark moments, because that is kind of the nature of that genre. But there is a legitimate interest and literary merit to it. So we want to bring forward to you as a committee a little bit of education on why that genre is significant in the curriculum. You won't see, I just wanted to explain also that the second quarter is a little bit light on the book club list, simply because some of our teams are doing research, and they're doing text studies, et cetera, that have been responsive to public comment in the past. So I wanted you to know that that is the reason why we have a lighter load for the second quarter. Okay?
And I have just a comment about when the teachers are providing this and the staff are providing this, and we're going through and you're striking certain things out. If they feel strongly about some of these books, I would love to get their feedback on why they put them in here too, because it's very quick to look, I don't know that I want my child reading this book with this word in here, but it's on this list for a reason, and I'd be really curious to hear some reasons why, and they're supporting of it, because they're the ones that have the background in this and the knowledge on these. I can look at a very quick summary and quickly judge based on 2 sentences, but if they feel strongly what it brings to the curriculum, I would love to hear that, because I think that would help all of us get a little more in-depth and a little background on why they're on this list to begin with.
Are you, this is a first thought, so are you thinking that this would be of some value? Because I do have to ask them to do more. And that is, I have to tell you that I am very guarded about that, and I think you have a great comment. We are still navigating processes, and we're navigating timelines, and not everybody is very happy to do this, because it is requiring all of our attention. So I just wanted to be sure that I place that in the right place.
No, absolutely, and I don't intend for it to be any extra work. I think looking back now, knowing what we've talked about in the past couple of meetings and striking out, I've heard feedback that people were concerned that they were struck out due to one word, due to this. And instead of just striking it out and writing it off, I would have loved to hear why, because that maybe could have changed our view on some of these. And so they don't need to come to every meeting and say, this is why we listed 1 through 20. Just maybe something, if it's something in the NA, or not with an NA, I should say, and they feel strongly, I'd just be, for an extra little email, they don't need to, I just want their opinions to be a part of this rather than just what we're seeing on paper.
Absolutely. We never, the curriculum team never really engaged with the teachers on too much of the books except just a strict review of the criteria, because that was the first lesson. Literary merit was never part of the discussion, and certainly value wasn't either, because we just weren't at that level. But I do think as we do multiple runs moving forward, that becomes introduced to the discussion.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
And I just have one last thing. So as we promised, because we've only had, the accounting is we've had only 6 book lists come forward for the first semester. That is after After all of that is done, we will capture a November survey. And then when we go through quarter 3 and 4, we will be able to capture all of the staff who are involved. So we'll have a timestamp in November on process questions and how to make it better. And we'll also capture the same information at the end of the year. And then again, parents and students will also be captured by semester. Just so, and what we'll do is obviously bring the summary to this committee for its consideration.
Thank you. That sounds great. That was my last comment that I was going to make, was that looking forward to, the surveys and getting feedback on the whole process and from the families involved in the community. So, all right. So if there's no further questions, then I'll make a motion to adjourn. Have a second? All right. So we are adjourned then, 5:20.